Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast. Come for a drink, but stay for the speculation. On today's show, we talk about all things Black Panther, the Marvel film released earlier this year in 2018, including how important it is seen by many of African descent. We are joined by a very special guest, Miss Sabine Georges, a lawyer and member of the Haitian community of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Drinking is optional for this episode. It's a great conversation, dealing with a critical and timely subject. This is a SciFi Pubcast. Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. All right, I'm looking around the bar today, and who do I see? Oh my God, it's Carrie Simpson. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
And right next to Carrie is, oh God, no, please no, it's Derek.
Not next to me, please.
Oh, no.
Send him back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm sidling away.
Yeah. Hi, Derek, how you doing?
I'm great.
Great. But, well, guess what? There's someone special in the pub right now. Someone I'm really excited to talk to as a new customer. It's my fellow colleague from my real life work job, Sabine Georges. Hi, Sabine.
Well, hi there. That was quite an introduction, Joel. Very flattering.
Yeah. Hi, Sabine. Yeah, I know. We know each other quite well. So, yeah, she knows to watch out for my puns and to take everything I say with a grain of salt.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And the good news, too, is I'm not hungover today.
Well, I am. So,
yes, we got corn. Okay.
yes. My dojo took a trip to Vasquez Rocks last night, and there was alcohol involved. But I can check that off of my my nerd travel list now.
Excellent. It's all about the bucket list, especially when you get older, because age does that to a person. Yeah. But before we go on, because we're talking about the film Black Panther from Marvel Productions, or Marvel Entertainment to be more correct, from earlier in 2018, Sabine brings a unique perspective. Sabine is a lawyer. She's from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You see, of course, I started with Canada because I'm Canadian. And she's a member of the Black community there.
Yeah. Well, I'm Haitian Canadian. So I'm originally from Haiti. I immigrated here when I was 4. So I also have that background as well.
Well, that's amazing. And so you bring a very unique perspective because I know I'm an older white guy. Derek is a really white guy. Carrie is kind of white guy. Yeah, but diversity is important.
Well, I'm not a guy.
No. Guy, it's gender neutral nowadays. Come on, folks.
I understand what you mean, Joel.
Well, Joel, I have a question. You said you're a white guy, and then when you get to Derek, you said he's really a white guy. So what's the difference?
You have seen Derek.
Well, how do you get to the really white guy?
Well, when he means white, for me, he just means uncool.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah, but you're really a white guy, so.
There you go. And the other thing, too, is I know my native language is English, so is Derek's. And Carrie, I think you're English as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. My understanding with you, Sabine, is that your mother tongue is French, or is it or Creole?
Oh, well, it's French. First language will be French, and then Creole, and then English.
Okay. So, we'll try to, talk about this stuff, and you're so much advanced from us because you're multilingual, and we're probably not that much. I can probably swear in Gaelic. That's about the best I can do.
I took French for 4 years in school, and I can't speak a word of it.
Well,
I'm told my Spanish is much better than I think it is.
Well, I know, Joel, you speak German.
And because I took it during undergraduate, my undergraduate history degree, because I was focusing on 19th to 20th century political and intellectual philosophy of Europe. Yes, but it's
Well,
been
there you go.
decades.
We're multicultural here. We have Spanish, we have French up in here. We have German, we have Creole. So see, we're
Great. It's just like the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Panther. Well, it just hit Netflix last week, both in Canada and the United States, and probably elsewhere around the world. I really like the film, spoiler alert. And speaking of which, we'll be dissecting this film somewhat. So if you haven't seen the film, stop this podcast, go watch it. It's on Netflix. It's great. But let's go from there. Guys, what's your general opening statement about Black Panther, the film? Derek, go.
I loved it. I thought it was really good. It was really hyped up a lot before it came out, and I thought it completely lived up to that hype. The thing I really liked about it was that it was so different from all the other Marvel movies, not just because of, Wakanda and the visuals and the technology it placed there and the cultural differences. I also really like the fact that it wasn't just a solo hero movie. It was actually a team movie, because it's not just about T'Challa. It's about all the other, women in his life, and they're kind of like their own little Avengers super team, if you will. So I really like that aspect of it, that it wasn't just about one guy, but it was about a whole team, and that they were mostly women.
Wow. That's the most smartest thing you ever said, Derek. Just about, no, actually, I jest. No, that's really good. Carrie, what's your take on it?
I really liked the movie. I thought it was amazing. I'm glad they're doing different things. It's, as I've heard on a couple of other podcasts I listened to, we've seen the white guys save the universe for the last 40 plus years. It's nice to see something else for a change.
Yes, it's almost like it reflects the real world.
Yeah, we can't have that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, we really do need that.
Yes. And just to give some background on the film itself, of course, the director is Ryan Coogler, who's very young, who's very, very good. He is, he's like 32 years old. My God. And he's a brilliant man. He previously did Creed from the Rocky series in 2015. And he did a couple more. He was named in 2013 by Time magazine as one of the top 30 people under 30. Very influential. So, it's a decent director with a decent look at the product itself. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Black Panther. It's from from Marvel. Disney owns Marvel. It's part of the MCU. It's the 18th movie in the MCU. The music is by Ludwig Göransson, which is a collaborator of Ryan Coogler from his previous works. And it's making a lot of money. Let me put it this way: it made a lot of money, and it's still making a lot of money. I wonder why. Sabine, what's your initial thoughts on the Black Panther movie?
Well, pretty much everything was said, but for me, it was this whole excitement right before, and then I think it lived up to like he said, it lived up to the hype, and it was it was amazing. The costumes, like the designs, and they were truthful to the tradition and to the African culture. I loved it, and of course the storyline was great. But yeah, overall it was a great movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because if you dive in, there's something called, and I may butcher the name, it's a school of science fiction called Afrofuturism, which is science fiction that shows the peoples of Africa and their diaspora. I can't say the word. The people who move from Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. It's and it just shows them in a positive light with the culture, with the heritage, and showing them in a positive light with technology. I think that's so important, in my humble opinion.
Well, I think so too, because it defies what we usually see or our usual thinking of what Africa looks like. We never see Africa as a prominent continent that has prominent countries in it. We always, in the media, we always see Africa as containing, poor countries that are that are not developed, and then they're third world countries. They're not self-sufficient. Where Black Panther defies all of that. So I think that was extremely important to give another, although, just for the record, I know, and then we all know this is fiction, but it does have parallel with what we're facing in reality. But yeah, for that, it was great.
Yeah, even at the very start of the movie, or towards the start of the movie, when you have this human traffickers, and I think the country was Nigeria, and you have Wakandans taking an active role, doing the what's right, playing the hero roles, right, in the real world outside Wakanda, within the MCU. It's not just some white people moving in from from Europe or from North America. They're governing themselves. They're solving their own issues.
Yeah.
The idea of things like freedom and liberty and self-worth, they're just not European ideas. They're human ideas. What do you think, Carrie?
No, I agree. My biggest concern with at least the beginning is, they're still telling the people that were rescued that none of this ever happened. So they're still trying to keep it a secret. And I get that they're not wanting to advertise to the world that this is what Wakanda really is. But some of it's just like, on the other hand, I agree with like Nakia and what T'Challa eventually gets to was like, they should be able to help out more than do more than what they're doing.
Yeah, and I like the fact that the one line about if we bring in refugees or migrants, I forgot what the term they use, they just become our problem. They bring their own problems into our lands.
Mm-hmm. Because we don't hear that ever at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But it does twist the idea, or at least puts the idea on its head. And that's why I think this is a very subversive film, and I really like that. And when I watched it, it's like, oh, there's so much meaning to it, and it's obvious to me. And of course, there's pride. There's I keep on saying black culture, black pride. Sabine, we're from Canada. That's generally accepted. I know some parts of the States they don't like the term black. What should we call it?
You mean over what? Calling what?
Like the black community.
Well, first of all, I mean, it depends. I mean, depending on who you would talk to. Me personally, I don't mind the Black Pride and Black community, but essentially, the Black community, it's any community that has African descent, that are African descent. However, because of historical and social elements, you would see from communities to another, they have different issues and they have different cultures. So, for example, the African American community, they have a very distinct social status in relation to, their historic is way different than, let's say, me coming from Haiti as a Haitian, right? So it's different. And then, or for example, again, you would take the Black community in Brazil, which they have a very large population over there. So it's very different. But overall, we're all from the same place, so from Africa. But because how history and what led us to where we are today is different, then that shapes our way of saying things, our culture. So we do have distinct communities, although we're from the same origin. We have the same origins.
Yeah, I think that's a really insightful way of trying to describe it, because it's just not one community; it's multiple communities with sharing the same roots.
But obviously, as per Black Panther, we're looking at it from the African American point of view perspective. So it's nice to keep that in mind. To me, that's very important because their reality is not the same. They have a very distinct situation over there. So.
Yeah, and you can see that because the film did open in Oakland, California, which is in a not so nice area. And that's not by accident because both
that's where Ryan Coogler is from.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome.
Well, also Oakland has a long history of of racial strife. I could probably say what my ex roommate would know more about it than I do, unfortunately. So I really can't speak to it off the top of my head, but I've known people who grew up in Oakland and talked about how it's not always the best place in the world.
No.
Yeah, well, you got the real Black Panthers Party was founded there in October '66.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Which is interesting. And if you dive into it, it's funny because funny is not the word. It's ironic almost, or it's strange that the comic book Black Panther came out literally a few months before that in 1966, and it was
before. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, and it was called Black Panther. The party came out. They changed the name to Black. Was it Leopard for briefly before changing it back to Black Panther. You can check out the Wikipedia articles on it. It's fascinating how even at that time, a small little comic book operation called Marvel was concerned about image and how much they push the envelope, because Black Panther, the comic book hero, he was one of the very first black heroes within comics.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just 1966.
Yeah.
That's within my parents' generation. That's, wow.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. You're right. It's just completely crazy. And
Well, it's not too long ago, right? So it's not that far away.
Yeah. And you go back to this film, Black Panther, and you see all the different influences of the story itself, of course, but the costumes, the dialect, the music incorporated in the soundtrack, the hairstyles, the mannerisms, and look at Wakanda itself, the landscape, and especially the cityscape. I look at the cityscape, the architecture itself there's a lot of thought behind that because it's eclectic, it's shared. In some ways, it reminds me of a Star Wars city, but in other ways, it's not. It's just so unique.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm looking about all the different influences because I know the people who made this film took influences from different areas of Africa, and they tried to blend it, and then they kind of made it more futuristic, and I like that. I really like that.
Yeah. And I was looking some interviews, for example, from Ruth Carter. She's the costume designer, and so basically she's taking inspiration from across the African continent. So it's not one country in particular, but you'll see things are deriving from various cultures. And then also she explained that everything that you see in that movie, every single details are calculated. Nothing is by, so everything has a purpose. So everything represents something. And then for us, general population, you'll really have to watch, that movie or know a lot of things and be very knowledgeable to actually recognize those little details, So that's amazing to me.
Okay. Sabine, we work together. I can be a crusty, old, jaded white guy generally, and I apologize for that. That's just who I am. But I had a father who was a bit of a military nut growing up. So, and I like film. So things like the Michael Caine movie Zulu or Shaka Zulu, all that about the British colonialism and military conquest of the 1880s in what's now South Africa. The places like Works Drift, where there was numerous Victorian crosses handed out. In terms of military battles, it's significant. It was a disaster for the British, but it was significant. So when I see Native African dances or the military culture, it it definitely pays homage to what I know already in my psyche. No, I'm ignorant. I need to learn more about Africa. Absolutely. My point I'm trying to make is that the filmmakers did a great job incorporating it in a positive, art and story.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
Paying
There's
homage.
also a great combination of ancient and futuristic as well, that they paid homage to their past while also having, kind of sci-fi future technology everywhere.
Yeah.
Like literally, they have tech to heal. What's the line? Another white guy.
Severed spines.
Yeah, severed
His spine.
Yeah.
Right, and of course the Bucky and all that. That's amazing.
Yeah, Bucky, that would be that's Avengers? That's the Infinity War?
Yeah, and that's in the post-credit scene. And that they was referred to. You brought me another white,
Another broken white boy.
White. Yeah, thank you. and it definitely, it subverts our stereotypes, because we have stereotypes, we have biases.
Yeah.
Even if we don't want it to have it, it's there to within certain degrees. And that's what art's supposed to do, is to shake these things up.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my
I think, and then you know what? On that note, I just want to add, and I think that was great. And I think the intent was to combat those stereotypes, because especially in the United States, what the stereotype usually come from the media, and the way the Black person or the Black community are portrayed in the media are most of the time not in the very positive light. And this is, you can go back in time, 1950s or 1960s, where the only roles that a Black male or a Black female would get, especially for Black males in particular, would be as rapists or as killers or as, any type of criminal. So that had to do something with the political and social context that they had at the time, because it was all behind this racist agenda of portraying the Black man as being bad. So that had a big impact on the way that the world perceived these people. So, and over time, and then I'm not saying it's as bad as it was in the 50s, but there's this origin, and it still is today. And then, it's getting better, definitely, but they're still portraying the Black community not in a very negative way sometimes. So I think that movie did it great, because the whole purpose of it was to be represented in a, finally in a positive way, and in not only in a positive light, but the way that we want to be shown, right? Because it was it was a Black movie. It was directed by a Black person, produced. So it was the cast was Black. So I think it had a lot to do with the way the youth, so that the way that they see us not us, me, but they see their own people on TV or on the media. So it was for them to have a good example and to be able to see themselves in something. And then just want to go back to when you were saying about, I think Black Panther was one of the first comics that had a Black lead as a hero. But that's very important to the youth. It may not look at something, but is monumental when you're growing up as a kid. And then all the good ones are always white. So it's nice to see. It's nice for them to now be able to see a hero that actually looks like them. It gives a sentiment of hope and self-worth. Right? Because this is what superheroes are there for, I imagine, for the kids to be able to see themselves in something, when you, and I know I'm going on and on there, but
no, please do.
But that's why this movie was really important to me. My personal opinion, it was to able to give something for the kids to look up to. even though it's fictional, but kids, we all grew up on comics, right? So it's anyway. So that will be my point in terms of I don't know how it started, but yeah. So that's why it's extremely important. The representation of the Black community. There's still work to be done, but that movie did a very great job of representing us in a very good light.
Yeah, it shows. Go ahead, Carrie.
No, I know it's kind of off topic for this particular podcast, but the fact that you had Black Panther Day coming out around the same time the CW was debuting Black Lightning, that's huge for the community in general, and to see different perspectives on just anything. And I don't know if anyone else has been watching Black Lightning, but it's amazing. It's an amazing show.
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes. I'm not. I didn't get hooked on it yet, but
I started to watch it.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the guy that turns out to be the main bad guy becomes a little more orange towards the end of the season, and I don't know how intentional that was.
That's interesting.
It's a very very interesting little change of that's as far as I'm going to go with that for now.
Yeah. And of course, there's Luke Cage in the Marvel series, part of the Defender. Who can we have to do a shout out to them, and of course, looking at the Black Panther film again. Speaking about the lead character, so T'Challa, the prince who becomes the king, he's a noble king. He struggles with his decisions. He fights. He does what he believes is the best for his people, and I think that's universal. And to see it within an African context, that's just outstanding in my opinion. But then you have the other side of the coin. You have the bad guy. You have the rage, the hate. Even if it's understandable. Yeah, it still is the villain, played by Killmonger.
Killmonger isn't wrong.
Yeah.
It is the thing. What he's trying to do is not the best idea, but the place he's coming from isn't wrong.
Yeah, I think with Killmonger is his intention are not necessarily bad. And sometimes, and then we'll dive into it, but sometimes he's very logical in what he plans to do, but it's the means and the way he wants to get to that point that are very questionable.
Yeah. And it goes back. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it goes back to human nature, and what happens when you have oppression and a history, whereas the individual, the self, strives for freedom and liberty and self-worth. Well, that's a very Western liberal way of thinking about things, but and I see that in the film, and it does it very, very well.
Very well, yeah.
Derek, you've been quiet.
Let's see. What can I add to the conversation? These aren't my words because I wouldn't feel qualified to speak to it, but one of my favorite podcasts is Fat Man on Batman, and one of the hosts, Mark Bernardin, is African-American, and he talks a lot about Black Panther. He has been talking about it over the last few months. And I liked his point that this movie represents Africa as it should have been, what it could have been if the European colonies hadn't come in and, demolished everything, and basically by first of all, by coming in and enslaving them and taking over, and then setting up these artificial boundaries that separated tribes and put other tribes at war with one another, that this is what it could have been if there had been no interference, that this was the potential that was squandered. And he also said that the movie meant so much to him because I don't know his exact ethnicity. I know he's partially Black. I think he might be partially Haitian. But he said that for an African American, you can only trace your lineage back so far. Yeah. Because like a white person can go back hundreds of years, but an African American, you can go back a couple hundred years and then you hit slavery. Yeah. And there are no records from Africa. So you have no cultural heritage in that way. And so Wakanda is a fictional heritage that they never got to have.
Oh, yeah. No, I completely agree 100%. And Joel, I think we had that conversation at one time at the office where you were doing some on Heritage Tree. What is it? What is it called?
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, Ancestry. And then I was telling you that, for me, to do that is almost impossible because, one, I don't even know if in Haiti I can go back for that many far away from the records, but also then arriving at a certain point, I will hit a wall, right? Because it's now where we're getting into slavery, and then we don't know exactly what location we're coming from. I know mostly Haitians. Our population were mostly from Benin. That's the country where we're mostly taking from. But however, there's other countries where we were taking from Nigeria, from Ghana, and other West Coast countries of the West African countries. So it is a problem. So it's something that we can't connect to, and it's something that it's missing from that we're missing. And I think just want to dive in again for the Black Panther. I think that the whole theme of the movie was looking again, like I said, looking from the African American perspective, trying so hard to identify themselves with their ancestors, because they have been disabled of doing so, right? It's they have a unique story when we're talking about a group of people that have been enslaved for 200 plus years, and then they had to wait until 1964 to have basic civil rights, and then here comes Jim Crow, segregation, and all of that. But then you are freed, but you have the obligation to still live within the same country that your oppressor lived, right? So you're living amongst your oppressor. So it's different from, let's say, Haiti, where we fought revolution, and then the French, they left. So now we're able to have our own country now, although we're not going back to Africa, but we have our own culture, and we're able to build from start. So we have our own country. But the African American, there's still, there's this group of people now. You've been freed, but you have to live with your oppressor, and then you're kind of. So where's your identity in all of this? Where's your culture? So I think for them, it's a constant battle, or a constant need to connect with the ancestral identity, because there is so much that they can do. They have been stripped away from their culture, right? So it's it has very deep meanings, and there's deep scars that are rarely discussed. And you know what? And I'm extremely happy that Joel is doing this and giving us the platform to discuss it, because it's always this uncomfortable subject, and it's not fun, but it's the reality. And I think with the African American, they do have the strong desire to reconnect with Africa. But it's hard, because there you have this tension between the African Americans and the actual Africans. You do have this tension between them, because it's like this, disconnected family member that you have, and then you're trying to make amends with them, because the African American, they have a sentiment of abandoned. They feel abandoned, they feel isolated, and they feel that no one has come back to rescue them. So I think this is where Killmonger comes from. He comes from a place of resentment, and that's and this is Killmonger. His character is the epitome of the African American person. He comes from a place that is not his choice, right? He has been abandoned, led from himself to figure out things. lived with no parents, and then in very harsh conditions, with in rough neighborhoods and all of that. So he's a misunderstood person. But anyway, yeah. So you guys go ahead.
And the irony is that some of this could have been avoided. T'Chaka had just taken Eric with them when they left back in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's like they kind of exacerbated the problem by killing his dad and then just ghosting.
I agree. But if we look at from the broader perspective, even if they would have come back for him, but that's one person. But
that's true.
Yeah, but what Killmonger is actually saying, and what his father was saying, is that they want to save all of the Black communities across the globe that are suffering and that are oppressed. So they want to outreach to all of the people. So it is very controversial between. So that's where the tension, I think, that actually exists in real life. So, do you want to stay in your comfortable seats? When he came in and talked to the kings and says, "Oh, this is what you guys are doing. You always done that," and sitting here in your comfortable chairs and in your wealthy, but you're not helping the others, and so it's it's something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he was abandoned. Not only he was abandoned by his own people.
Exactly. So that's where the frustrations come from. And of course, they had to add more in order to make him as a villain, because he is a villain. His erratic behavior and, emotionalist. He killed his own girlfriend. So you see, he's detached completely from reality. But he's also misunderstood. Not only that, but there's something that they didn't touch really, but it was subliminal when they spoke about his past in the army. So you can tell he's suffering from PTSD, which is great, because they touched that subject, because it's something that we never associate with the Black community. Because the Black community, in my opinion, they do, not all of them, but some of them do suffer from PTSD, because, some of those people are being, they're growing up in very, very harsh conditions and rough places. So it has an impact on you. So it will definitely shape your way of seeing things, your way of acting, and may eliminate any type of feelings that you may have. Like Killmonger, he was emotionless. So I think for me, he was, like I said, he was misunderstood, but he was definitely a villain, as needed for the movie. So.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me watching it this time around was that when he does kill his girlfriend without a second thought, I remember the first time I saw the movie, I was like, whoa, what's up with that? But the more I think about it, that kind of shows symbolically like how he is the villain versus them, because the other characters, the Wakandan characters in the movie, honor and respect women, and T'Challa is surrounded by strong women, whereas Killmonger, kills off his girlfriend without even thinking about it. Kind of shows
exactly
where he's wrong from them.
Yes, but that's also because he did not have that culture, right? He was not brought up in Wakanda. So he does not have that strong, that culture within the African culture where the place of woman is very important. So they're protective, they're strong, and they're very well respected. But he didn't have that. So.
That's a very good point, and I'm learning a lot just by listening.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me, I think, of the best quote of the movie, which is towards the end of the movie, when Killmonger is mortally wounded, or could be mortally wounded. He was wounded, he's going to die. And T'Challa says, "We can still heal you." And Killmonger should say, replied, "Why? So you can lock me up again? Nah, just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage." That's such a powerful line.
Yeah, that really was. I remember first time I saw it, I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at this line, it's funny because it doesn't talk about race, does it? It implies the hell of it. But it's the whole idea: death is better than bondage. Wow.
Well, yeah, that was very powerful, and it's but because it's very powerful because it's so real, right? It really happened. Enslaved people jump off of the boat because they rather die instead of bring some who knows where to be enslaved for how many years. But I think that also indicated a sentiment of loss of hope. There's this optimistic, you will have this optimistic perspective, like AKA, Martin Luther King. You'll have that perspective, but you also have the other, perspective where there's completely loss of hope and loss of trust as well. But it's very understandable. It's coming from a real place. So yeah, that was very powerful. I had some discussion with when the movie came out, and I had some discussion with friends and family, and I kept thinking, Killmonger and and T'Challa, I think they are referencing Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I don't know why, but I kept seeing them because they had the same vision, the same intention. However, the means and the way of doing it was completely different.
Yeah, so, you definitely can see it through that lens of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, two schools of thought.
Two schools of thought, yeah.
And both of which are understandable. Yeah.
Very understandable.
Black Panther did start out, first trying to kill Zemo, but then he did eventually choose the path of peace and nonviolence.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in this movie, I would say that's a good
analogy. Very, yeah.
It's also interesting that the two main white characters, I should say, one played by Martin Freeman, the FBI or CIA, I should say, Agent Everett K. Ross. Yeah, he's a bit of a fool. And then you have Claw, of course, Claw being another villain he's just a jerk, overall jerk. So right, so yeah, can you say that the Everett K. Ross CIA guy was a hero? Yeah, he was more of a supporting guy who, he showed some bravery, but just don't put him in charge, please. Okay.
No, but I will take a Bilbo Gollum rematch any way I can get it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he did take a bullet for. I forget who he took a bullet for. But he took a bullet for somebody and got the spinal damage. So.
Oh, he took a bullet for what's her name? No, not Okoye.
Nakia.
No, Akia. Yeah, her.
Oh, right. Okay.
Took a bullet for her. Yeah, that's when they had the talk, and then Okoye didn't want them to bring him back, and then she was saying, well, he took a bullet from him, and then Okoye said, well, that was his choice, type of thing, because it's a no bringing any outsider within Wakanda's territory because of this whole resources things that they don't want to share.
Well, it was a no to bring Bucky and Cap there too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We've already ripped that Band-Aid off, kind of.
Hey, what about the acting? I think the acting in this movie is just outstanding. Yeah, we got Chadwick Boseman, and again, if I butcher the names, I apologize. Micah B. Jordan is amazing, but some of the lesser known actors, Letitia Wright, who played Shuri. Young actor. I think she's British. I love her character, and I love how she portrayed that. It's outstanding. And then Go ahead.
Oh, and Angela Bassett is just amazing.
Oh, I love her.
Well, and it's ironic because back in like 2000 when they were talking about the first X-Men movie, there are a lot of people calling for her to play Storm because she is this tall statuesque character in the comics. I mean, and Halle Berry is kind of tiny. But when you saw her when she was in mourning and she was out of her robes and the white hair, I'm like, that's Storm. That is who we deserved as Storm. Not that I'm saying Halle Berry did do a good job, but it's just like that was the casting we wanted. Back in 2000.
That makes sense. I actually would definitely see her in Storm. Wow. I never thought about her because we're just so used to Halle Berry. But yeah, she would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite was Lupita Nyong'o. I thought she was really charming in this one.
Oh, I loved her. Yeah. I loved her character. The other thing I've heard rumblings about since Fox is reuniting the Marvel universe is technically in the comics that T'Challa was married to Storm for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So really?
Not that I would want to see T'Challa and Nakia break up, but that could be very interesting.
Yeah, imagine the arguments. Oh.
Yeah.
But then again, are they actually back together? I wasn't sure towards the end. I know they made amends, but
they kiss at the end of the movie.
No, they kiss.
They kiss, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're back together.
They're back together because I know she wants to leave. She doesn't want to stay there. So I'm not sure if she's made her decision to stay with him.
Yeah, but he agreed with her whole thing about going to the outside world and sharing their technology. So I gotta assume that.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not a done deal.
Okay. So there's still hope.
The plot thickens. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Black Panther. Now let's talk about geek culture. How has this movie affected geek culture? Because I know, say, take cosplay, if you go to any of the big conventions, there's a huge community that they're all about Black Panther, and it's great to see. What do you guys think?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love that that's finding its way into geek culture. That's great. I mean, it was already there, but, you know.
Yeah. It just adds more ways people can love what they love about popular culture and fantasy and science fiction and hero movies and all that. I was a kid, and Sabine, I've made this joke repeatedly. The only person I can cosplay is probably Jean-Luc Picard. So yes, Patrick Stewart. It's terrible. But
we've discussed this, Joel. You could be Lobot.
All right, there you go. Okay. And what do you guys make of this whole vibranium resource? Do you think it's a comparison to oil or a metaphor for oil?
Possibly.
Well, I think it's a metaphor for whatever resource that African countries have been, exploited for. Yeah.
Oil,
maybe
diamonds.
It would work better as a metaphor for diamonds.
Yeah.
Because diamonds are mostly found in Africa.
Yeah, but I think it's overall because it's not limited to one country. You know, in Africa, they have been exploited for different resources. It varies from one country to another. So I think it represents the whole idea. Yeah, maybe diamonds, maybe oil. I wouldn't say really oil. Oil is more Middle Eastern.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's something about, it's a massive source of wealth. And in the case of Wakanda, it wasn't stolen by, say, the Western powers.
Yeah, it's apparently the Western civilization, quote unquote, is under the impression that it's a very rare material, and once they realize that they're basically lousy with the stuff. Well, I mean that would actually devalue it on the black market. That could be very helpful to make it not as rich of a target for smugglers and stuff.
But even towards the end of the movie, I couldn't make up my mind whether or not opening to the world was actually a good decision. I'm still debating on it, even since the movie came out, because I think Killmonger did have valid points. Look at what happened to the world, to the other African countries. They've been exploited, and they are greatly paying a lot for it until today and for years to come. So I don't know, sharing with the world, but at what price? So it would have to, and then I don't know, maybe we need a second, like a sequel for us to see whether Wakanda will show us the right way of sharing knowledge, the right
Well, it's
way.
been announced.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
But Black
maybe
Panther
that's gonna be-
died.
Okay.
How could they make a sequel?
Shut up, Derek.
All right, he did. Yeah, but
he
that doesn't make
disintegrated.
sense,
Yeah. That's Infinity War. Spoiler alert. Okay.
spoiler. But yeah, but I would.
People
I would
don't come
love
back from the dead in comic books. Hello.
No, there's Captain Marvel. Remember, she will come and bring back everybody still alive.
Yeah, she's gonna save everyone.
She's gonna save everyone.
She and Ant-Man, as soon as they get him out of the quantum. Oh wait,
Oh, she's away.
Ant-Man?
No, not Ant-Man. Oh yeah, Ant-Man. He's gone too. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, Ant-Man's kind of stuck at the moment.
It's a small
He
thing.
is stuck. Who the hell is gonna help him?
I don't know. That's the weird thing.
All right. Well, folks, any closing thoughts on the Black Panther movie and its influence and effects on pop culture and the greater Black community, or people from who are descended from the continent of Africa?
It's awesome. We need more of that. More. Give us more.
All positive. Hopefully.
Yeah, it was great. Again, sentiment of pride and self-worth. And one thing I want to add is there's towards the end, I loved the end, because when he came back to Oakland, he went back and then he said that he bought his uncle's, where his uncles lived, the building. So he bought the block. So he bought not only the building that his uncle lived, but also the two other buildings next to it. And I love that, because that sends a strong message, which is freedom is through, in my opinion, is through ownership. And I think it gives hope. If we control and if we own our communities, then we'll be able to do better for them, and it will be able to shelter and care for our own people. So I think that was a great message at the end.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Sabine, you bring a very unique and very powerful perspective. And
thank you.
And thank you for that. Really do appreciate that.
I hope I did not disappoint you guys.
You did
no,
not.
not at all.
This podcast is generally irreverent, and it's generally me drinking beer and whining about science fiction. But you've changed all that right now.
Yeah, you know what? And then I think we spoke to it when it came out. Me and Joel, we had that conversation, and it's not this typical Marvel movie. It does have some humor into it, but I think overall it was more a serious movie, which I think it's different, and I love it. It does give a different perspective. Although I don't know, that was before I saw Infinity War. Infinity War wasn't that funny either. I think it was pretty serious. So dramatic.
It had its funny moments, but that ending.
That was dramatic.
It's still too soon to talk about most of that ending.
Speaking of Infinity War, it is funny to see it in the light of Black Panther's success, because they wrote and filmed that before Black Panther even came out, and you can tell that Marvel was completely unprepared for just how insanely popular Black Panther was going to be, because while Black Panther and Wakanda are in the third act of the movie, they're not really central to the plot. They're just like a location to have a battle. Yeah. And they don't even appear in the first 2 hours of the movie. But when you saw the trailers and the ads for Infinity War, it was basically Black Panther guest starring the Avengers.
Yes.
It was 50% Black Panther, even though he's barely in the movie.
He's barely in the movie. I agree. I didn't know Infinity War they filmed before. This I didn't know. That's wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they only came out a few months apart.
Yeah.
So they were basically being made at the same time, and nobody on the Marvel side could have ever predicted just how wildly popular that movie was going to be.
Mm.
Well, it was also a way to get the battle to a place where there would be a limited number of civilian casualties.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they know that all their movies will be successful and that they're building a puzzle piece by piece. But obviously, had they known how much money Black Panther was going to make, they would have made him more central to that movie.
I think so too.
I think you're right.
You're right. Yeah.
I rarely say that Derek is right. Yeah, I think he's right about this.
So I'm not the only one who teased Derek on this show. Excellent. Okay.
Oh, come on. You know I tease Derek all the time.
Okay. I think this is great, guys. I really do. And for our listeners / customers, if you have an opinion on this, if you want to see more of this type of social commentary or talk or conversation, or something we said wasn't right or incorrect, by all means, please let us know. The best way to get in touch with us, if you want to actually write out an opinion, is probably by our email, which is management@scifipubcast.space. Now, I know, Sabine, you don't have a Twitter account, do you?
I don't. I have a public Instagram, so I can give you my Instagram account. Let me see here. Yeah. So I'm gonna spell it out for you guys. So it's SA.BEEN_. So it's Sabine.
Great. And and if you can't find that, just email the management@scifipubcast.space address, and I will make sure that Sabine gets the message. And so, good way to provide feedback there. Now, our show, the SciFi Pubcast, is on Twitter. It's at SciFi Pubcast. It's a very unique Twitter name. And our network Twitter is at Nerds Attack Pods. And you may have noticed we now have 3 different channels for our social media. We have Twitter, which I manage, which is kind of focused on science fiction news and my occasional bad quip or joke. We have Facebook. Hi, Derek. It's managed by Derek. And Derek, what do you see the Facebook account doing in the near future? What's your vision?
I try to repost sci-fi fantasy related movie, TV show, book news when it's relevant. When there is relevant news, there isn't always something.
Right. And then we have our Instagram. And since we do have the word pub in our name, I try to focus that more on the beer, food, wine, anything bar related side with some science fiction. It's managed by me. It's a new thing I'm trying. Because I'm being influenced by my girlfriend. Okay, so there's that. My Twitter address is at Joel_Welch. Carrie, what's your address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's KERI Blackfire42.
And Derek?
I am at Derek J. Beebe.
Okay, that kind of wraps things up. Any last things to say?
No.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah,
exactly. Wakanda forever.
But I love the salute, the whole the arm crossing.
The crossing, the crossing
amazing.
arm.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, and again, Sabine, thank you very much for coming on this podcast. I know this is it's different for you, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No, I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Okay, guys, that's closing time. Make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.